We're pulling from reality, gathering bits and pieces of real people. You use these people and the bits of behavior or characteristics as a starting point as you begin to sketch out your characters.